Office 2016 tutorial brought to you by IT Tech Consulting, small business solutions for all small businesses. Today we will be discussing how to use page background and a custom header image to create a look and a feel for a Microsoft Office Word 2016 document. So let's get started. Right here, I've got Photoshop open because I thought about doing this tutorial because of an issue that a friend of mine or acquaintance of mine brought to me this week. So he sent me a resume that he really liked, a template that he really liked that he found in Photoshop. So this is not a Photoshop tutorial, but if you know a little bit about Photoshop, you kind of know that it's not built for resumes. Now, granted, there's a nice charcoal color here. There is a opaque blue color here, which he really likes, and I'll explain why. He graduated from the Citadel, so the colors blue and gray are kind of their colors. So he liked that. And then there's this Art Deco swoosh in the background that he really, really likes. And we want to emulate that. But the problem is that if you look at this file, there are multiple layers, which if it's an image file or a graphic art file, that's ideal. That's what you're looking for when you're working in Photoshop. If it's a a Word document, not necessarily a Word document, if it's a print document or if it's a document that you want to print out on a piece of paper, this makes for a large file size and maybe not so good on the web. And so consequently, when we published this to a PDF, an Adobe Acrobat PDF, it was, I don't remember, but like 60 megabytes. So just not workable for what he wanted. He got the color, the style, everything that he wanted. We had to help him kind of tweak it out a little bit, you know, as far as some of these layers were concerned. But we got it just the way he wanted. But I recommended to him that, hey, you know what? This is a job for Microsoft Word. And he's very comfortable in Word. So if we could create him a template that looked exactly like this in Word, then he would be very happy and he could manipulate it. He could use it for other people, so on and so forth. So that was the task. So let's go ahead and see if we can't. Now, obviously, that's my name. Those of you who watched IT Tech tutorials in the past know that I'm Martin Kelleher, the CEO, founder, and owner of IT Tech Consulting. So you see my name here. I'm trying to protect his name. That's not his name. Joseph Hess is not his name. This may be his address or his phone number. Please don't call him if you're looking at this tutorial. So anyway, let's go ahead and move over to Word and see what we've got going over here. Okay, so I'm going to start with a blank document. And we're going to try and emulate what we had there in Photoshop. Let me stop this tutorial for just a second. Okay, welcome back to our tutorial. The first assignment was to make the entire page the charcoal gray color that he liked. I'm going to show you a graphic artist trick for matching colors exactly using the hexadecimal values. So the first thing we were going to do is we're going to choose our design ribbon, and on the design ribbon we've got a button called page color. So we're going to go ahead and click the page color, and it drops down our palette. You can see we can choose the different varieties of gray, but how can I determine exactly if it's the same color that my friend wanted? And so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and choose more colors. And when I choose more colors, I get a color wheel, right? And I can choose custom. And the custom lets me see the red, green, blue, or the RGB and the numbers for each. So what I want to do is I want to choose a gray tone that matches what my friend wants. So how am I going to determine what that is? Well, I'm going to flip back over to Photoshop real quick. And in Photoshop, I'm going to go to a layer, let's say back. I'm going to close everything. Those of you who don't know Photoshop, all I'm doing is hiding all the layers. And I'm going to this background layer, the one layer that he wants me to look at, and I'm clicking on it. And I can see here kind of the background color, and there's a tool over here called the eyedrop tool. What the eyedrop tool will do, it'll allow me to match the RGB or the hex number, but it gives me the RGB number, the red, green, blue. It also gives me the cyan, magenta, yellow for the printers, but I just want the RGB, which is 49, 49, 49. So let's see what happens if I plug that into Word. So let's go back to Word and plug in 49, 49, and 49. And you see right away I get a really nice shade of gray, that charcoal gray. So I've applied that to the page color, and the entire page is now that color gray. So that's the first step. Okay, so we've applied a page color background, and that was the first step. Okay, so we've applied the gray color to the page. We like this gray color. The RGB values are 49, 49, 49. We got that by using the eyedrop tool over in Photoshop to match the background of the template that he liked. On our design tab, we chose page color. From page color, we chose more colors. In the more colors, we chose the custom tab. And in the custom tab, we have the option to put in different values, and we want the red, green, blue value or the RGB value. And here we entered 49, 49, 49. And what it did was it gave us that nice charcoal gray that he liked, exactly like the charcoal gray from the Photoshop template. Okay, so that's where we are. The next thing we want to do is we want to add this swoosh. So here's the trick. We need to, well, let's see how we can do this tutorial. We can add it in a couple different ways. I'm trying to let you all know my thought process here. This is not really a scripted tutorial. I found that by sharing my thought processes, it might help you as a developer or a designer understand some of the thinking processes that go through the decision making. So the swoosh needs to be up top here. Okay. Now the one thing I know about Microsoft Word is it's going to force some margins on you, okay? And even if I choose, and I'm going to go ahead and do this right now, even if I choose my margins to be, let's see, page layout, I'm in the layout ribbon, I'm going to choose the margins tab, and I'm going to choose really narrow margins, okay? Even if I choose really narrow margins, I still can't get my swoosh up to the top. I can get it up to here, but I won't be able to align it with the top of the page. That's an issue, okay? But there is a trick. Okay, so let's talk about this trick. What do I want to do? I want to put that swoosh into a header. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to click on the Insert tab. That gives me my header option. I'm going to click the drop-down menu for the header option, and I'm going to go ahead and click blank right now. Okay, so now I have a header. Okay, I can do some stuff in here, right? I can type in here. I'm going to end up eventually typing his name in here. But right now I want to just insert a picture. Okay, so let's go ahead and insert a picture. You should know that I've already copied this picture from Photoshop. There's the swoosh. I took it just from the layers. If you look here, there it is. I selected that. I copied and merged it. I created a new document. I saved it as what I saved it as. Now, the nice part about it is because we match the RGB colors of the gray exactly, when I drop this onto my Word document, I'm not going to be able to see this gray here. All I'm going to be able to see is the swoosh because this gray is going to be the exact same color as my page. All right, so that brings me back to where did I put that photo? I know where I put it. My cloud storage in a Camtasia project called header background info, and there's my swoosh. So I'm going to go ahead and click it, and you see it put it into the header, which is where I wanted it. So now the good news is I've got some handles up here, and I can manipulate this quite nicely. Also, you'll notice that this little dialog box or layout option box popped open. That's going to tell me that I can make this picture tight, meaning the text wraps around it really tight, or I can put the text behind the text, which is what I really want, because if I throw some text on here, I'm going to want the text to be behind the swoosh, or in front of the swoosh. Excuse me, I want the swoosh to be in the behind. And I'm just taking the fill handles right now and dragging this edge to edge to kind of give it the look that I wanted. So, so let's take a look and see how we're doing. Let's go back to our Photoshop file. Let's go back and take a look at our original template. Let's turn on the layers. Oops, excuse me. So that's what Photoshop's got, and here's what we've got. We're pretty close. I think we're really right about there. If we take a look at it, right? Okay. Welcome back. ITT Tech Consulting Word 2016 tutorials. Basically, we're talking about custom header pictures, and page layouts. So we've made our entire page as charcoal color gray. We've added this swoosh, which goes from margin to margin. The only way you can do that is by placing it in the header. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little header information. So I just simply clicked in the header. It brings up my blinking cursor, and I'm going to type my name. Those of you who have watched ITT Tech tutorials in the past know that I'm Martin Kelleher. So I'm just picking the Calabria font that it gave me, and I'm going to go ahead and move that to the align left, or excuse me, align right. I thought I had my margins tighter than that, but that's okay. Yeah, I did. Okay, so there we go. So I kind of like that. Now, if you remember the Photoshop file, we'll go there real quick, and we'll turn on the background. You'll remember that it had kind of this blue box. My friend, you will see it here, Mark, he graduated from the Citadel. As you can see here, the Citadel's colors are blue and gray. So that's what we're trying to emulate right here. So how are we going to do that in Word? Pretty simple, really. I'm going back to Word right now, and so I've got my name typed in here. So all I want to do is insert a shape. Okay. Again, I'm still in the header, footer tools. I want to choose insert. I want to choose shape. Okay. And you could round the edges. He doesn't like rounded edges. I do, but he's the client, so we got to go without the rounded edges. In this case, I think he's much more correct than I am. If we were to do rounded edges, it would be hard to get them edge to edge. So I create this shape. The fill color is set to the blue that I kind of like because I've been playing with this before I did the tutorial. But what happened? I can't see anything behind there. Huh. What good is that? Well, I need to be concerned with my fill, right? And in my fill, I have the, let's see, where are my fill options? More fill colors. Here we go. So I have standard and I have custom. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. I want to go a little darker than what I want. And I'll tell you why. Because in order for the text to shine through, I have to give this box a little transparency. So you see, here's the new, here's the old. The current is what I'm looking for. But if I can add some transparency to this, I'm going to say around, I don't know, 65%. And I click OK. It's a little darker than what I want it to be. But I think you get the idea. You'll have to mess with your transparency to get the text and the swoosh to shine through. But for the purposes of our tutorial, really we're kind of done. So I want you to imagine that you would just fill in this resume. Oh, one last piece. Let's go here. Also, he's got a, excuse me, a separator. Where is it? It's not the separator. Contact information. There we go. He's got this little contact information bar. It's white. I'm going to go ahead and show the whole resume again. Right, and he's got this little white box, and notice no rounded edges. So what I did was I took it upon myself, never a good idea. Remember, the client wants what the client wants, and they've got a reason, and they've got an idea behind it. So make sure you communicate with them and get their information, not what you want, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and change the color of this fill also. I don't like it. I think that's closer. Let me go here. Choose that. A little closer, not quite. I think we're closer there, but I'm just going to leave that because I could waste a lot of time on this tutorial just trying to mess with that color. But obviously for a client, you're going to have to take the time and get it just exactly how they want it, but you can see the techniques for doing that, okay? The transparency is important. Make sure that everything shines through. And I'm going to show you a little trick as far as printing this is concerned that most people don't know in Word. And by default, it's turned off. This is something that you're going to have to turn on before you print this. Microsoft created this to save people ink on their DeskJet and inkjet printers. I'll show you that trick in just a second. So really, we're pretty much done right now. This tutorial is not about how to type a resume, how to format a resume. You would put in your headers and your bullet points and everything else like that. I will do this last piece. I'm going to insert a shape, and I think what I want, if I can remember correctly, text box. I think I inserted a text box. I don't remember. So it might have been a shape. And let's see if it does what I want it to do. No, this is not the one, but that's okay. So you would just insert this shape right here. And remember, the fill has to be white here now, right? And now here, you simply add text. And it's adding white text, which is not what we want. Right? Don't know why I can't see it. Text color. Showing there. Okay. Who knows why? There it is right there, so we can see it fine. And that's where you can add your text. Okay? So that's it. We've pretty much emulated the Photoshop resume. We could add our education, and you notice that some of these sections are overlapping because we had done a lot of work for them in the Photoshop template before I kind of told him that we were kind of spinning our wheels, and we would be giving him a Photoshop template that if he wanted to convert to somebody else's resume, and that was one of the things that he wanted to be able to do, he was going to have to be able to learn how to manipulate all these layers, which is, it's an entirely different set of skills. It's more graphic artist skills than it is word processing skills. So we just converted it to Word form, and let me show you the finished product. Let me show you the finished product. There it is. Nope, that's the Photoshop file. There it is. Okay, so there's his finished product. It's a 2-page resume, which is what he wanted. There's a typo here. I made a little note for him just to show him. And you can kind of see what the page looks like. Okay, so that's it in Word as opposed to Photoshop. And you can see that we've got separators here that I created that he doesn't necessarily like, which is okay. Don't take it personal if your customer doesn't like something. It's offset. He didn't understand why it was offset. It's something that I like to do to kind of to separate items on a page. The two different lines aren't parallel. Well, they're parallel, but they are offset. And that's just a technique I use. I learned a long time ago to create kind of a separator bar and a field to the page. So anyway, that's where we're at. And now let me show you the last piece of the last trick of the puzzle is printing. Okay, welcome back, and let's just finish off our tutorial now. So you can see that this is the Word document that I created really very quickly. And I'm going to show you the finished document right now. This is marked resume. It's the same Word document, the same format. You got the swoosh, you got the blue. I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. You can kind of see this is everything over here is kind of standard, but this is where our header is. This is where the title is. We have the swoosh. We have the blue rectangle shape that has some opacity to it so that we can see through it. we've got the separator bar with his contact information in there. And so now we want to print it. So I'm going to go to File and then Print, and I'm going to get my print preview. What's wrong? That looks nothing like my document that I created in Microsoft Word. First of all, I do have a nice blue rectangle that is kind of the Citadel blue, but I don't have the charcoal gray background. I do have the swoosh, but I don't have the charcoal gray background. My type is in white. I know I typed that in, black. I know I typed that in white. Why is it showing in black now? Also, there's a black margin around my white separator bar. If I go to page 2, you also notice all the text is in black. The separator bar is the same as how I had it, but there's no gray charcoal and there's no white text. So what do we got to do? Well, this is Microsoft's way of saving people money on ink. Thank you, Microsoft, I guess. I don't know. But what I want to do here is it's simple. We're going to go to Options. And in Options, we're going to choose the second option, which is Display. And in Display, there's Page Display options. Always show the formatting marks on the screen, and printing options. And the options that we're interested in is printing options. And if you see the second box says Print Background Colors and Images, that's the box we need to check. So I'm going to go ahead and put a checkbox in Print Background Colors and Images. Click OK. I did send this file to my friend, my client, and I never told him about this because I had already turned it on my computer. So because I've run into this problem multiple times, and it was simple for me just to turn this print background color and images on, and so it printed just fine for me, or I could see it in the print preview just fine. Of course, when I sent it to him, he's like, well, this is not what I wanted. So anyway, we click this checkbox and we will get what we want. So let's click OK. Let's go back to File. Let's go to Print. And now we can see our print preview looks exactly like what we want it to look like. Okay? And so that's the last piece of the puzzle. So thank you for visiting ITT Tech tutorials on Word 2016, headers, custom background images, page layouts. And remember, ITT Tech, we provide small business IT solutions for small businesses. And if there's anything we can do to help you, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please visit our website at ittech.tk and keep coming back and looking for more. Thank you.